Hello everybody and welcome back to episode 118, or as we say in the UK, 118, 118. I can't remember the rest of the thing.
I actually can't remember the jingle.
The advert, yeah, 118 jingle.
Everyone
Why
dresses,
are we already going to
everyone dresses up as them, the two 118 men at Halloween.
Oh yeah, absolute class. Yeah, they did like a Ghostbusters thing. Who are you going to call 118?
Yeah.
But yeah, as you tell, I'm back with Lauren. Hello, Lauren.
Hello, Declan. How are we this week?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm good. I am good.
Good. I'm very glad. We haven't got Cameron. I don't know where he is.
Yeah, no excuse. Just said he couldn't make it. So
just disgusting behaviour.
Very, very poor.
Yes, but that's fine. We'll make do without him.
Yeah, I said in the group chat, it's the dynamic duo back this week. So
yeah. Oh, yeah, exactly.
Great.
And he always has sent his predictions as well.
Yes, that's why I actually thought about my predictions beforehand, because he sent his in. So 5 minutes before recording, I have somewhat of a plan for my predictions.
Mine are going to be on the fly. So
you did listen to me pick mine though, so
I can't remember them.
You might have a slight idea in your head.
Yeah, I can't actually remember them, so... But you did provide me with some good information about a certain rider in Moto2 that I forgot. So that's good. Yeah, but before we kick off the podcast, just wanted to say that, but maybe when you're listening now, the Sighting Lap have posted a podcast with myself, Harvey from there, Dave from the Off Track podcast, and Joe from Chasing the Racing. So two titans, that's not including me, titans of the podcasting industry in the UK, about men's mental health and motorcycle racing and how it affects men's mental health for, of course, November, which is Men's Mental Health Month. I'm actually sporting a moustache as well at the moment, not that you can see.
Oh, I couldn't tell.
Yeah, but my kind of sides are growing in a bit, so I need to shave it. But I do have a moustache at the moment as well. But yeah, so it's just a really good and interesting conversation, actually. I really did thoroughly enjoy it. It was really interesting to hear the side of Joe, for example, who has broken his back twice, been homeless and all that, and is a motorcycle racer, and his story is so interesting. I genuinely wasn't too aware of it going into it. And so to hear it from his kind of perspective was really good. You know, I talked personally about things I've gone through, and Dave as well, and Harvey, of course, as well. And just we talked about a lot of things, and it was a really good podcast. And I urge you to go and listen to it. And it'll be on the Sighting Lap on the 7th. It'll be out at 5 o'clock if this podcast isn't out by then.
Yep.
Which I'm sure it will be on later.
We'll see. We'll see. But yeah, it's a really fun episode. I say fun episode, but you know what I mean when I say that. I had the pleasure of editing the episode.
Have you listened to it?
Yeah, I've listened to it. And I thought it was really, really insightful. And as much as I'm not a man and I can't relate from that aspect, you know, we all go through mental health struggles, and it's something that everyone in the world deals with. So I was able to relate to it on that sort of basis, and the conversation of, you know, needing to speak out and having a good support system around, you know, that will resonate with a lot of people. So I urge everyone to listen to the episode, because I think it's such a good discussion. And yeah, it is an hour and a half long, but it does not feel like an hour and a half listening to it. Once it was over, I was like, oh my goodness, like what? And then I checked my phone and was like, oh my goodness, it's been the whole hour and a half. And I just sat and listened to the whole thing, and it was fabulous. So yeah, really good discussion, and hopefully the first of many more, hopefully. And yeah.
Fingers crossed. Yeah, I actually spoke to Dave today as well on LinkedIn. He's such a nice chap,
Love
Dave.
him.
Really do like him. Yeah, fantastic guy. But yeah, heading into the podcast, I think the biggest thing to talk about, there are a few little big things, should we say, that have come out in the news and media this week, but the official thing that we can officially talk about that's actually going to happen is that Alvaro Bautista will be on track this weekend at Sepang on the Aruba IT Ducati GP23. I can't wait.
I wish we had like sound effects for that. I feel like that. Like fireworks and all. I feel like that's what it needs.
Well, it was bonfire night yesterday.
True. I feel like this is sort of, well, in my head, gone a little bit under the radar. Like my dad said to me today, he was on his phone and he went, "Oh, Alvaro Bautista's going to be riding this week." And I was like, "Dad, this has been announced for months. What do you mean?" And he was like, "I have not seen a thing about it." And I
made a post and all the comments were like, what?
yeah,
I forgot about that.
completely forgot about it. I think they announced it so early in the season that people were like, oh yeah, that'll be really, really good. And then, he's won the championship and everything now, and we're sort of going, okay, yep. And then all of a sudden it's like, whoa, yeah, he's actually going to be here this weekend, and I'm really excited for it, especially since how the end of the World Superbike season went and the testing that we've sort of had a bit of an insight into.
Yeah.
I feel like it'll be a really, really interesting thing to see. I really I don't know how he's going to do at all. Part of me thinks top 10 he'll like smash a lot of people, but then another part of me is like, the standard is so high in MotoGP, maybe not. So I'm really on the fence about it.
Well, to me it's interesting because he has tested the bike recently, of course, at Misano a few times and was pretty consistently strong. If Michele Pirro was unfit to test last week, Bautista would have taken over and tested the GP23 last week at Jerez. Obviously, Pirro somehow was able to ride it with his broken ankle as an absolute hero. And so he didn't test it, but MotoGP does not have a combined rider and bike weight limit. There's only a mandated limit of 157 kilograms for the bike and does not take the rider into consideration. Only in Moto2 and Moto3 is there a combined rider and bike limit. We're at Sepang, which has two very, very long straights.
So what you're saying, he's going to win it?
It is a little pocket rocket. I mean, I'm not saying he's going to win, but I do think, especially riders like Fabio Quartararo, are just going to absolutely blitzed by him on the straights because he's tiny, weighs like absolutely nothing, and he's got a Ducati underneath him. Dani Pedrosa was very strong earlier this year. Obviously, Dani Pedrosa and Bautista are a different caliber. Bautista is, however, a two-time World Superbike champion. Dani Pedrosa is the most successful MotoGP rider to never win a World Championship and is a three-time World Champion in his own right and is a spectacular lightweight bike specialist, as we saw with his 3 World Championships, including his 250 win as a rookie. And Dani is one of the best 250 riders of all time, I would say. But back onto the topic, I think Bautista can do quite well. He's brimming with confidence. He's ridden the bike quite a lot recently. Obviously, there's no weight limit, so that's an advantage for him. I'm not going to say he's going to win the race, but I genuinely wouldn't be surprised to see him in the top 5. I know that's big, but I would not be surprised.
I sort of thought top 10 was like pushing the boat out. But
I think he could do top 10 easy.
Top 5 if he shows up in that gold suit he came out in after he won the championship. Gold bike.
Yeah, God.
That'd be really cool, actually. As long as he changed that suit up, though, because that was horrific. But yeah, I'm not sure about top 5. I think once we get the first practice session out of the way, we'll have a good idea. And I suppose it is, you sort of could compare him to the likes of Dani Pedrosa. Obviously, he's had more racing this season than Pedrosa has, but I think of sort of size and stuff like that, they're quite similar. And age, I think, as well. I'm not sure. I
think Pedrosa's 37, yeah, but his is 38.
So I feel like I remember them racing around the same time. So I feel like it is a complete fair comparison. I know one's a test rider and one is still racing full time, but to come into MotoGP, I think, the comparison is pretty likely. And obviously Pedrosa finished, 4th in Misano and just didn't really want to get involved in the podium battle, even though he definitely could have. But, he sort of went, it's not my place. I wonder if Bautista is up at the front, will he go, it's not my place to be here and to get involved in this, or will he, put the elbows out and go, this is my opportunity? Because he's not going to come back to racing in MotoGP, so
may as well send it.
Yeah, he might as well
he's
go
not there
for
to collect
it.
data.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he's not exactly like Pedrosa's there as a test rider to collect data. They are, by the way, Pedrosa's 2 months older than Bautista.
Oh, okay.
So, and Bautista also beat Top Rack this year. And Top Rack is, as we know, off the chain talented.
If Top Rack was 5'5", I think he would have won it. But
then Top Rack wouldn't be able to ride the bike.
Top Rack wouldn't be Top Rack. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I saw to go on a quick tangent about Top Rack, I did see a tweet. I think it was from Sofa Racer. That was
Very
like,
reliable source, yeah.
oh yeah.
I do love
But it
his
was more an
tweets, though.
opinion thing. Yeah, they are great. But it was more of an opinion thing. And he was basically saying that we go in motorcycle racing for these big personalities and these riders who are...
Oh, yeah. I know what you're talking about, yeah.
Like Valentino Rossi, who was like very like flamboyant and like did all these great things. Everyone was like, wow, yeah. But then Toprak, who's a very quiet, unassuming guy, whose personality never really shone before when he couldn't really speak English that well. And now he can speak English. Obviously, his interviews are quite funny and he's just a funny guy in general, but he's still that quiet guy. But on the bike, he's such an extrovert. He's such like a da-da. And it kind of, I think his kind of whole personality is kind of characterized by how he rides on a bike. I just thought it was quite an interesting little tweet that it was like, why do people like Toprak, but he's very quiet kind of thing.
I think, yeah, he comes across quite quiet, but when I was at Donington Park this year, there was a few different times where I was able to sort of sit and hear him chat, and one of them was in a media debrief, and he was sitting there and he was being interviewed, and Johnny Ray was just standing actually just to the back listening in, and they started joking with each other. And obviously they're great pals, and that joking with each other, you got to see his personality, and I was like, yeah, he's quiet, but he's so witty, and he's so funny, and he just comes out with these one-liners that are hilarious. And then the other time I can think of is when he was on stage with Michael Hill at the Paddock show, and again, his interviews are so funny. He's just so quick. And I know English isn't his first language, but like his comedy is so well timed and so quick. And like Michael was saying something at one point, making a joke, and Toprak did not get it at all. And Michael was like, that's going straight over your head. And I can't even remember what he said, but he just came back with something so witty and so smart. And I was like, that's why people find him funny and why they think that he's like the best rider, because not only is his on-track stuff so good, but I think that his personality does shine through. Yeah, he's quiet, but everything that he says is either funny or like he, respects a lot of riders. He's never said a bad thing that I can think of. So, he's respectful and people like that.
Yeah, exactly. He's just like a... And the thing I like about Toprak is he's very aggressive. Like, I'm talking like probably one of the most aggressive riders I've seen, even like more aggressive than Marc Marquez. The only difference is there is never any worry with Toprak. If he sends it under a rider and is like on what looks like the absolute limit, he always makes the apex. I don't think I've ever seen him in the last few years, especially at Yamaha, take another rider out. Like make that lunge. Oh no, he's lost the front. Oh no, he's taken out the rider he's overtaken. That doesn't happen with Toprak because his bike skill is just that good.
Yeah.
And he's just like an absolute joy to watch with his stoppies and things like that.
I think that's another reason why people like him so much, because as much as that intense battle was between him and Johnny Ray in 2021. Yeah. 2021. They are the best of friends. Like in Parc Ferme, the two of them will be chatting away, and Bautista will be standing off to the side. Like, yeah, they all congratulate each other, but it'll be Toprak and Johnny fully chatting about what went on in the race and this, that, and the other. And I think that just shows you rarely get that between two title contenders to be such good friends, especially when Johnny's the one who lost out and Toprak won. How the both of them can sit in a room. Any other championship, one of them would have taken the other out. There would have been 2015 MotoGP.
I was about to say 2015.
You don't get that. And I think when both riders can sit there and say the best man won, and we fought as hard as we could, and we actually do get on with each other. Yeah, the championship fight happened on track and on track only, and the two of them then could rip the piss out of each other off track and still be friends afterwards, and there's no hard feelings because no one was making those mistakes. They weren't taking each other out. And then I think that shows through in the personality, which is why he can be quiet and be such a big phenomenon in people's eyes.
Yeah, like the whole video that we were on about last week where he was stood on the bike riding it through that. Like, no other rider would do that. No other rider would do that.
I don't think anyone else could. No. To be honest.
Yeah, it's just stuff like that makes me really like him. And then going back to Bautista, the fact that Bautista could beat Toprak makes it very interesting to me. Toprak in the form of his life. Toprak who was on the podium every race this year, barring the 2 that he DNF'd in, I believe.
Yeah, it was something pretty
Let's have a
crazy.
look.
Well, yeah, he
I'm
would
gonna
have absolutely
get that.
annihilated the competition had Batista not been there.
Oh yeah, let's have a look. I've got it here. Yeah, so Toprak was on the podium every race, barring 2 DNFs and a 4th in the sprint race at Jerez. That sucks. But again, the fact that at 33 races and he was on the podium for 30 of them.
It's mad. Yeah, and he decided
And
not.
still came second.
Yeah, he decided not to go to MotoGP and take BMW on as a bit of a challenge. I am so excited to see if he rocks up there and makes
It's
the
about
difference.
a month until he tests the first time.
Yeah, I'll
Can't wait
not
for that.
read too much into it until race 1. But
Yeah, I'm the same. I think you can't read too much into testing, but as we've said last week, Johnny Rea looks very happy. I watched his little vlog that he put up. I watch his YouTube channel religiously because I really do like his YouTube channel. I think it's really good. But it was just lovely. I really did like it because there was a clip at the start where he put on his Yamaha Polo for the first time and was in the Yamaha colours, and Alex Lowe's bobbed over and was like, "You look really weird." And then he's walking through the paddock and people were like, "You look strange. What the hell's going on?" Then Paul Denning, the Yamaha manager, was like, "Oh, hello, you look strange." But then it was just the way Paul came across. He was so respectful. He was so nice. He was like, "It was such a pleasure to have you race with this team," and really did emphasize the weight that Jonathan Rea's name still holds in World Superbikes. But it was just the respect. And then they went to the garage and and Paul started an encore of clapping for Jonathan Rea, and everyone was just so nice and welcoming. And then they went back to where Johnny had his suit, and Paul was going, "Wow, that suit looks so good." Da, da, da. And Johnny was just beaming about the whole thing. And he got on the bike and he was had a few problems with ergonomics and things like that. And he even said on his social media thing that the bike felt a bit weird to sit on, but when he was riding, it kind of felt a bit better. More like his bike after a few changes. But the way that Yamaha and Paul kind of welcomed Johnny in as well, it was just so lovely to see. And I think having that synergy and that kind of family atmosphere around you, like he had at Kawasaki, it's almost like a warm hug, or you're putting on that warm coat in winter. And it's that security that you have. And I think Johnny Rea having that he can fall back on a little bit like he did at Kawasaki will really help him next year, as Toprak is going into a place where he may not have that as much. BMW, as we've seen, are a bit ruthless in their factory squad, getting rid of Scott Redding and Eugene Laverty before that, Tom Sykes, and it is kind of like a you perform or you're out kind of thing. Toprak, I think, will perform, but yeah, I do think that Rea will do a lot better than we think he will next year because of that, and I'm quite intrigued to see. I really do believe that Rea could go all out and win a 7th title next year.
Yeah, I fully believe it. When the rumours started about the possibility of him leaving Kawasaki this year, I was like, that's wild. There's no way he's going to do that, And I think Marc Marquez probably took some inspiration from it, because it's a massive step for someone like Johnny Rea to leave a team where you've got all your success. You are a World Superbike legend, and, for 2 seasons.
The greatest of all time, really.
For 2 seasons, you could call it 3 seasons, it not working. It's bold to then turn around and go, we're going to have to close this book, and I'm going to have to open another one with another team. I think Yamaha has a fantastic team. It does seem like a very good environment, and I'm glad he's got that warm welcome, because I think that's a massive thing. I think that makes all the difference. And yeah, I think having the likes of Paul Denning being such a good team manager, and that'll sort of work well for him. I think on the other hand, like you said with Toprak, I think he sort of wants that cutthroat environment. I think for him it's sort of going, that adds to the challenge of jumping onto a new bike that he doesn't know. If he can make that work and get to the front, automatically you can just think Toprak could jump on anything and make it work. You know, he's taken Phil Marin with him, so you know that's a match made in heaven. The two of them working together, so I think that'll help even more. And that sort of, even though it's a bit more of a cutthroat environment, you've got that constant with you bringing your crew chief. So
yeah, exactly.
I think it's sort of worked out absolutely perfectly for the both of them. They must have been cooking this up, because I'm really, really excited.
I guarantee Ray probably spoke to Toprak. Toprak was like, I'm thinking of leaving, you know.
And Ray's like, oh.
If you want my seat.
Yeah.
And then may have like gone, Toprak, when he's gone to Yamaha and gone, look, I'm leaving, goes, but Ray is interested, by the way.
Yeah, there had to have
You can
been.
break that contract.
There had to have been, because we all thought MotoGP riders and stuff like that had to be a shoe-in for it. But I think if you've got someone of Johnny Ray's capability wanting to join your team, you're going,
you take it.
Do not care which MotoGP rider or whoever out there wants to come to World Superbikes.
Morbidelli or whatever it was.
No.
Yeah.
So I think that makes a lot of sense when you see the likes of Morbidelli going to Pramac and etc. etc. It all seems to have fallen into place very, very well for everyone involved, weirdly enough.
Apart from Fabio Digia.
Well, yeah, but, you know, he is still one of the top names for Repsol Honda. Well, maybe second.
Alongside.
Yeah, second in line, could you say?
And along the other one that we're going to talk about as well. Yeah, I guess that's a good segue.
That's a perfect segue, yeah.
Yeah, Ricard Hove, who's I wouldn't say he's all right all the time, but he's a decent source most of the time, has basically said that Repsol Honda has approached Fermin Aldeguer in Moto2 about the potentiality of riding for them in 2024 and 2025. There are a few little things around that, though, because Fermin signed a 3-year deal with Speed Up for last year, this year, and next year. That contract, as far as I know, is watertight. But this is also Repsol Honda, who can afford to pay Marc Marquez 25 million quid a year.
25 quid.
25 quid a year. At least 25 quid a year. Wow. But, they can afford to chuck millions of people. And as much as that contract is watertight, a few million quid going to his manager's way or the team's way in Moto2 surely is not going to hurt. But in the same way, personally, I do believe Fermin needs another year. Like, we did talk about the fact that he very much could finish third in the championship if he continues riding the way he is. But he also is only 18 years old. And I do believe that, as we've seen in the past, pushing riders into MotoGP too early, too fast, isn't exactly the best thing to do. Fabio Digia's out already. Remy Gardner was out after 1 year. Icola Corona was out after 2 seasons. And it's a risky game. And I wouldn't like to see Fermin Aldeguer hop on a terrible Honda, ride it whilst he's 19, then ride it whilst he's 20. The bike not really go anywhere. And his career is at a dead stop end because he's done 2 years in MotoGP and now no one wants him because he's scored about 12 points in 2 seasons on the Repsol Honda kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of young riders in previous years that have been moved up too early. But what I'm hearing, a lot of people sort of more going, oh, it's very Fabio Quartararo-esque. He could come in and it worked really well
Yamaha was
for
good.
him. Yeah.
He hopped on the Yamaha.
But he also jumped onto a Petronas first and had that year.
Yeah. On a Petronas B as well, wasn't it? Had like 1,000 revs less than his teammate.
So, I don't know how I feel about this. When Fermin Aldeguer moved to Moto2, it was always, he's coming here so we can dodge the age limits, get him into the class so that he can be there for a couple seasons, and this will be a fast track way to MotoGP. There's always been rumours surrounding Fermin Aldeguer and how fast it's going to be to get him into MotoGP. The rumours were obviously silenced when it didn't really go his way initially when he first joined the class, and obviously his teammate outshone him last year. But this year, he's head and shoulders above his teammate, and that's just, I think, a time thing and being able to sort of come into his own, and the fact that, yes, he is only 18 years of age and hasn't followed the natural Moto3, Moto2 progression.
Yeah, that's it. Like, Like his teammate Alonso Lopez had years of Moto3 experience prior to that. So he essentially could just waltz into Moto2 on a decent package and do well on tracks he already knew.
Yeah.
Obviously, it was still a stupendous achievement that he did last year, but to expect Fermin to do that, who had done the European Talent Cup as soon as 2019, then hopped on a stock 6 in 2020 because he couldn't afford to pay snipers for a seat in 2020 in Moto3, and then hopped on stock 6, won the championship, then hopped on a Bosco Scuro in 2021 and won nearly every race. It's very impressive, but I'm not. That but is a big but. But I'm not like putting any other rider down. But Alonso Lopez is his only real competition. Alonso Lopez was second or third or first every race. That was it. The next closest rider was 130 points back. He was actually almost half the points that Fermin scored, which is Lucas Tulovic, who is obviously not performing very well this year. And then it was Xavi Cardelis, Adam Norridin. You know, riders that are either in Supersport or are still in the same class. You know, Sam Wilford's not made it into the World Championship. Matteo Ratto's there, who's done a wildcard. You know, what I'm saying is the talent wasn't as strong as the World Championship. Alonso could step back into the World Championship and race the guys that he's been racing for years prior to that anyway. Fermin had to step into the World Championship and go, oh, that's how this works here, does it? Okay, that's fine. Because on top of that point, Fermin did the stock 6, but at the time, that stock 6 was against the Moto2 bikes as well, so they were on track at the same time. So he kind of already knew how those Moto2 riders rode in the European Series. He didn't know how those Moto2 riders would ride in the World Championship. And so again, like that period of adjustment was needed, but now he's adjusted. That talent is shining through.
Yeah, he looks pretty unstoppable at the minute. And I mean, obviously last weekend, Pedro Costa didn't have an answer for him, and Pedro Costa is the name that we're calling the next big thing. So that has to say something. I just don't know if it's the right idea.
Not yet, I don't think.
I don't know. Obviously, they're probably just trying to recreate Marc Marquez jumping on the bike, and I don't think they're expecting a rookie world champion again, but I think they're maybe going, okay, fresh blood, he's young, we've got years to work with him, and we can make something work. I don't know if it would be a very good pair up between him and Johan Mir. I'm not sure. It's just confusing because we haven't seen that much of him because he's so young and has really only come in the sort of last 2 years. So it's like, I don't know what to expect, so I can't really make a complete informed decision on whether or not I think this is a good idea. I would love to see him in MotoGP, and I do think in like 10 years' time, I've said this before, you know, obviously the likes of Pedro Costa, etc. I'd love to see Fermin Aldeguer, Pedro Costa be the ones battling for the MotoGP championship, which would be great, but I don't know. I think it's too early to say, and I think he would benefit more from another year in Moto2. Just looking at the talent pool that's in Moto2, I think another year would suit a lot better.
I agree. Like, it's not going to hurt to be battling Arbolino, Dixon, Canet, Chantra, Lopez, Gonzalez, Salach, Agura, Vietti, Garcia. For another year.
The issue is that there's so many good names in Moto2 at the minute, and not all of them can go up. So in the other breath,
with Canet, he's kind of been left behind.
In the other breath, it's like, this is your opportunity, because Canet turned down an opportunity. Joe Roberts turned down an opportunity, and now you're sort of looking at them going, ooh, I don't actually see you getting out of this championship now. You know, Tony Arbolino now is taking another year. We're going into his 4th Moto2 season. You're sort of going, you need to make sure you win it next year to get yourself that leg up. There's some riders, that next year is going to be very, very make or break. I think for Aldeguer, a season of consistency will be more than enough to get him a MotoGP seat, because he will be 19 at the end of the season, and that is still so young in the grand scheme of things. And when you look how young the MotoGP class is in general, I think
Yeah.
we will see a couple more Moto2 riders have a few more years than what they would like before they do
Yeah.
make the step. And I think Fermin Aldeguer is one of those, even if he did 1 to 2 more years before moving up.
Yeah. I'd agree. And I think you look at the MotoGP grid, and there are a few names that may not be there in 1 or 2 years. You know, if Marquez, it goes terrible at Honda, no, Goscinny, he could leave and just stop.
He's made that clear. Alex Marquez said it in an interview.
And then Marquez actually denied it.
Yeah, but brothers, you know.
And then, yeah, but then you got Takanaki Gami, you've got Aleix Espargaro, who is like, potential for like retirement because, he's a family man, and he's even said that it'll be his last contract. But he always says this and then stays a bit longer.
He's been saying that since before COVID, so.
Yeah, he has. Jack Miller, we don't know how long he's got. He might want to go and spend time with his family if he can't get the results he's looking for. If John Mir decides to pack it in, Raul Fernandez doesn't, make the big step that we need him to.
Injury.
He's already made a massive step.
I think could play into it as well.
Yeah, exactly. And Didier could be out. There are few seats that will open up. Zarco's got 2 years, and then he might decide to retire after he's made his millions over an LCR Honda. So there will be seats that open up. But again, these guys in Moto2, yeah, they're in good stead now for a seat, but they could very much see themselves leapfrogged by the talents coming up in Moto3. Your David Alonso, for example, if he can do really well and then excel in Moto2, then straight up, Daniel Holgado, Dennis Onshu, Ortola, Moreira, Rueda, Vaya, Munoz, Sasaki potentially. Sasaki could just hop on the Honda.
But I think when you look at who's moving up from Moto3 to Moto2 this year, Masia, Onshu, Sasaki, I think a lot of those ones will need a year or two because look, I think the Moto3 riders this year struggled a lot moving up to Moto2. So I think this is possibly a saving grace for a lot of those Moto2 riders that you're sort of going, there's a possibility they might get leapfrogged here. Apart from Dennis Onshu, who I think will suit a Moto2 bike a lot better than what he's on now. I think that we're going to start hopefully seeing the natural progression play out of the first year in your rookie season in Moto2 is going to be a bit of a struggle. There's going to be some decent results in here. But look at Sergio Garcia. I think next year he'll make a massive step. And
he's done so well already.
Be consistent is the massive thing. But then if you've got the likes of, say, Tony Arbolino and Fermin Aldeguer actually battling for the championship, yes, you could have Sergio up there, but to just be a bit more consistent, then the year after he'd be battling for the championship. So I think there's hopefully, a couple years in it that maybe slows down the progression.
Slows down a little.
So you can't really have that leapfrog effect, hopefully, in an ideal world. But there's not enough seats for the amount of talent that we have at the minute anyway. So there will be people missing out. And it's just who's got it and who's going to make it. Yeah, Fermin Aldeguer is one of them.
Yeah, MotoGP's never guaranteed. I remember when, at the time, Joe Roberts was managed by Eitan Pitbull from the American racing team, and when Joe turned the Aprilia seat down, Eitan was very annoyed at him and was like, when you get that opportunity, you take it. No matter what, you take that because you never know if it'll materialise again, and it may never do now for Joe Roberts unless he goes out and does something insane next year and wins a championship by 1 million points or whatever.
Well, you never know.
Which could happen.
Yeah, the bike looks decent that he's going to, so.
Does under the hands of Marcos Ramirez, who's done really well so far on it. Yeah. Who hasn't got a seat for next year, which is a bit weird.
Yeah, I was having this discussion with Harvey last week actually, and he was like, "Oh, that'll be a good lineup, Marcos Ramirez and Roy Skinner next year," and I was like, No.
Ramirez is out.
And then I was like, actually, now that I think about it, I haven't heard anything about Marcos Ramirez, and I think with everything that's happened this season, it's been a bit messy, but if you look at his performances since he's jumped on that American racing team bike, he deserves a seat for next year. And it's actually
I would agree.
A bit annoying that there's nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing there.
Yeah, I think he will find something. It's just about where and who and what and how more than anything.
Yeah.
There was actually a confirmation today, and this is where I hope he doesn't go, of Peter Bajsarski and Nicola Antonelli going to the Altea Ducati in World Supersport. And I hope Ramirez, who has done a wildcard in Supersport years ago, doesn't end up back there because I think he's too good. But I thought that was a little bit of interesting information that Antonelli's over at Supersport, which has seen fellow compatriot Aldeguer win the championship on a Ducati this year. Both, like I said, ex-academy riders. So that could be interesting. Manzi's up there still. It's pretty much like the VR46 Academy reject championship.
Yeah, a little bit, but I suppose when you look at the likes of Aldeguer and Manzi this year, you're sort of going, God, why did anyone ever lose faith? But it was bad when it was bad, but it's fantastic when it's good. So, yeah.
That's it. Like Baldassari, for example, did really well in Supersport. Not really anywhere to be seen really this year in Superbike.
Yeah, it's cutthroat. It's sort of become
it is
an issue in general. It's just the talent pool is too big,
too much.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Let's carry on.
I was just gonna say I don't know where to put them. There's nowhere else on the world stage unless you start making other classes and other things. And race weekends and World Superbikes and MotoGP are packed out enough as it is. And obviously World Superbikes are getting the Women's World Championship next year as well. So their weekend's going to be busier. It's like, I don't see where it's feasible to be putting all these people.
Yeah, I agree. And one interesting one, we talk about talents coming up. Mr. Marc Marquez, his little academy rider, is part of the vertical. So Marquez obviously left management with Emilio Alzamora along with Alex and started a management company with a gentleman who I've forgotten the name of, who used to work for Red Bull and now works for Marquez. And it's Marquez, I think Alex, and this other guy who run the vertical management team. And they manage a rider called Maximo Quiles, who finished, I think, third in the Red Bull Rookies this year, was winning Red Bull Rookies races as a rookie last year, won the European Talent Cup at like 13 years old as a rookie and was a midget. Like, honestly, like, he was so tiny. And he won it as a rookie, and then he's just gone and won it again for Aspar, and I believe will race for Monlau in the Junior World Championship next year, thanks to this Strada Galicia sponsorship that Mark and Alex Marquez have. And again, you see a rider like him who has been massively hindered by the age limits because he got really screwed over and really should have been Junior World Championship like 2 years ago. But again, you got a rider like him coming up, and there's so much talent at the moment. And a rider like him should really slot straight into, say, Red Bull KTM when he potentially makes that step into World Championship, and then it's like who gets booted out of that team to make way for him and all this malarkey. And you even go back into the Junior World Championship this year. Let's have a look. Moto3 World Championship. And obviously we had Angel Piqueras win the championship this year, as well as the Red Bull Rookies, who's going to Leopard. But again, the talent in there is nuts. Luca Lanetta was second. He's racing for the Sitch squad. Alvaro Carpe doesn't even have a seat next year, even though he should, because he's third and was very good at the Red Bull Rookies. And you got Javier Zurattuzo stepping up next year with the Irish squad. Joel Esteban is stepping up with Aspar. Jacob Rulestone is stepping up with Tech 3. David Almanza's there, who's stepping up with Snipers. Carraro is stepping up with MTA. Brasri is stepping up with the Asia Talent team. Like, their talent is stacked. And Noah Detweiler's in there, he's stepping up as well. Like, it's stacked. And it doesn't seem to be slowing down.
No. Well, yeah, this is the issue. And even though I just said about hopefully that it'll slow down when it comes to Moto 2 and they sort of move up into there. If we keep pumping them up from Red Bull Rookies and Junior GPs and whatever, European Talent Cups, it's going to be very difficult. We're going to need another
championship.
Yeah.
Like, I think in F1, they've got, well, in the car racing scene, should I say, they've got a lot of really high standard championships. So if you can't make it, so you can win F2, and you don't get an F1 seat, you can go and race in IndyCar, you can go and race in the Japanese thing, Prema, I think it is, and you can go and race in, like in Japan, where there's a really strong thing there. You can go and race in IndyCar, you can do endurance racing and stuff like that, but it's not held to the same prestige. If you want a Moto2 championship, you're into MotoGP, if you don't get into MotoGP, it's like almost like you're cast off to World Superbikes, or you're cast off to Endurance, never to be seen again, and it's weird.
Yeah, because even if you can be a world champion in any of those classes that you just mentioned in car racing, it's not held to the same standard, even if it is a world championship. And you look at MotoGP and World Superbikes, both are world championships, but a lot of people would call MotoGP,
The pinnacle, isn't it?
pinnacle of motorcycle racing, which it is, controversial or not. So yeah, even if we did make more classes and more avenues for all this talent to go, it's still, there's 22 of the best riders in the world get to go to MotoGP, and that's where you see it in F1. And then you start getting
20 seats.
paid drivers and controversy over who should be there and who shouldn't, and people who don't perform but because they bring in a lot of money end up staying. And I didn't say any names, but yeah, that's what I don't want to happen. And I know that's so hypothetical, but I like MotoGP that you, for the most part, when you get to the top end, you are there because you're talented.
And not because of anything else, really.
And I want to keep it that way. So if we did expand into more world championships, we'd have to make sure that it stays based on talent. And I'm sick of money playing havoc in all this, young riders, because I think we'd see a hell of a lot more talented young riders.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what we would do with them, because even just looking at like the riders and like BSB, if some of them could get a break and get the money, you're sort of going, oh my God, well, what would we
Max
do?
Cook and all that, yeah. Like if Max Cook had the right funding when he was in Junior GP, for example, I really think if he could have got a seat the year after onto a KTM, for example, because he had to leave the Junior Challenge team and went back to Stock 6 in the UK because they only get 2 years there. If he had, say, hopped onto a more competitive KTM, could be a Moto2 rider now. We don't know, but again, it just comes down to money and problems like that. But yeah, I think it's good to move on, I guess.
Yeah, we talk about that a lot.
Yeah, onto maybe another rider who deserves a bit longer in MotoGP, which is Iker Lecuona, who is back again. He has been a super sub this year. I did say it earlier, and people were like, "What? He's not a super sub because he's not really performed." But
I've seen you arguing with people in the comments about that.
Yeah, because he's back to replace Rins for the next 2 races. I did say ages ago that I don't think we would see Rins back. He did come back. He got a 9th and disappeared again. I think he just doesn't want to ride that Honda, to be honest. But Lecuona has pretty much done his entire World Superbike season and has done most of the MotoGP calendar this year as well, which is hats off to him. That is impressive.
Yeah, and still didn't get a MotoGP seat out of it, whether or not out of his own decision. But like, he's still not racing here next year. It's weird.
What's a man gonna do?
I don't know. But I think good for Rins in the sense that he's like, look, I don't want to injure myself any further. He's got next year to think about. I sort of think that that's where this is going. He might show up at Valencia, although obviously with the Valencia test, you imagine he would show up because he will be testing a Yamaha. And for him, he's going to want to be fully fit to test that Yamaha. Yes, we've lots of time until the start of next season, but you want to go in starting strong, being able to see what needs changed and, hit the ground running, really. Whereas, I don't know, bringing Lecuona in is nice for Lecuona, but knowing that he's not actually going to be there next year and he's staying in World Superbikes, it's a bit annoying. And for Lecuona, it means nothing. There's no reward at the end of it for stepping in and doing all these races and trying his hardest, I imagine. He doesn't just show up and be like, oh, well, I'm not going to try.
Pot around the back, like he is trying, and hopefully it'll put him in good stead for the year after, maybe. Because I would have thought, put him on a Repsol. He knows the bike already. He's done well on it, but apparently Honda don't want to do that for whatever reason. They want to, instead of promoting their own, they'll want to look outside, and well, that's Honda's prerogative. If that's what they want to do, that's what they want to do, But yeah, maybe Lacrona's getting a bit of extra pay packet and doing a bit more MotoGP testing duties as well. And it's good for their superbike project, to be fair, to have a rider that knows the GP bike and the superbike as well, because they can try to translate few little things over. But I would like to see him get a full-time seat, to be honest, in MotoGP, because I do think he deserves one. But it goes back to that thing of too much talent, too little seats, and once you get out of MotoGP, it's very hard to work your way back in, especially with riders like Pedro Acosta and things like that, who are demanding, rightly so, MotoGP seats.
Yeah, I think it must be difficult, and obviously we don't know what went on behind closed doors with Honda for all of this to have worked out the way that it's worked out. But you hear that Marc Marquez is going, in my eyes, Iker Lecuona to LCR, and then Johan Zarco to Repsol. It's the step up that he wants to a full factory squad. It brings Lecuona back into MotoGP and just good satellite team.
It keeps it in the family as well.
A good environment satellite team, I should say. And it's a win-win for everyone. Zarco finally gets that factory seat that he deserves and gets to be sort of the head honcho of a team, because he's being outshone by Jorge Martin at the minute. And then, like I mentioned, Iker Lecuona gets to come in and give MotoGP a proper try after having it not worked the first time, but taking some time out in the World Superbikes, testing a lot with MotoGP, and having to be a replacement rider, and then getting that opportunity based on the fact that he's stepped in and he's done well when he's stepped in, given the resources that he's had and the fact that he's racing in 2 championships. You got to give the guy a break.
Yeah, 100%. He's just done really well this year, and I'm just very impressed by him.
It's wild that people are like, oh, it's not like he's done much. Sorry, he's racing World Superbikes all year too. What do you want him to do? Obviously, his main focus is that.
Yeah. People are funny. They are funny.
It makes for good reading, I suppose.
It does indeed. Like we said on the podcast, the Site and Lap, the internet is a place that everyone can have an opinion, whether it be right or wrong.
Yeah. Some people shouldn't be allowed to have an opinion, but...
Yeah, but hey ho. On to another opinion, because other people can't have opinions, but we can.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can. We're allowed, apparently, somehow. I've put on the notes, we spoke about it last weekend. I do think it can happen. I've put Martin win everything, question mark. I think, personally, Jorge Martin is in position now, as we worked out last time, if he wins all of the last 3 races and sprint races, no matter where Bagnaia finishes, Martin will be champion. By 13 points if Bagnaia takes a second in every single one. So for Martin, that's pretty good motivation to just go win everything. And I genuinely, the way he's riding now, think he can do it.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree with that. And I think if we had Cameron here, he would wholeheartedly agree with that too.
Disagree. It's too controversial.
He would, but I've seen his predictions, so I think he would agree.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. The issue is with both him and Bagnaia is I can see a mistake from one of them. I don't care how...
They both got one in them.
I don't care how good both of them have been, and I think last race weekend really showed that in the moments where it matters, they do not crumble. The mistakes that we've seen in the past have been silly mistakes, have been complete lapse of judgment. Bagnaia had that big, massive crash in Barcelona that was just so out of character for the bike and for him. These things happen. And
he's never high side. Like, that's how out of character it was.
I know. And even though they were so good, and they have been so good in the last couple of race weekends, I can see a mistake in both of them, and that's scary, because I'd love to see it that whoever just goes out and wins the races wins the championship. I don't want someone to make a mistake. I want both of them to be on the track racing like they did in Thailand 2 weeks ago. And the fastest man and the man who crosses the line first wins the championship after actually battling on track with each other, because I think that Thai Grand Prix race was one of the best this season for actually overtakes, battling, and the best man winning the race on the day.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. And we do need to see a fight for it, because it just seems to be that Martin either disappears and Bagnaia kind of is like, oh, I'll take second. But it's like, bro, like, Bagnaia, that's fine. But at some point, he's got to click in his head, like, wait, no, I can't let this happen, because if Martin wins all of the races, he's going to win the championship regardless of what I do. And so at some point, Bagnaia has to fight back and actually fight and win this championship by battling Jorge Martin. Because as we've seen, give Jorge Martin a minute or an inch on the track and he will just disappear up the road. Like, he's more than happy to do that. And if someone like Brad Binder comes into the fore, Martin will definitely have a scrap with him. And as we saw in Thailand, can beat Brad Binder, of all people.
Yeah.
Like, that's impressive.
Yeah, and in a full scrap too. You would usually put your money on the likes of Brad Binder,
Yeah,
but
I put my house on Brad Binder to win.
literally the house, the wife, the kids. Yeah, literally.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just, for both of them, it's uncharted territory though, and that's why I think there's a mistake in both of them, because yes, Pecco Bagnaia is a world champion, but as much as last year he had to claw his way back, he did not have to physically fight Fabio Quartararo for it. And I think if you'd put them in a boxing ring, I think Fabio Quartararo would probably have the upper hand with how much
He ripped his head off.
yeah, with how much he wanted to, but just you could see the despair. It just wasn't going to happen.
Yeah.
Yamaha had just
Ready to turn the TV off and stuff.
he didn't have the bike beneath him last year. Whereas this year, obviously, Pecco Bagnaia has a contender who is on the same bike as him and is much faster. Pole position after pole position. He'd be leading the championship. It was just based on sprint races. I think.
Yeah, he would. Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, I think Jorge Martin has something that Pecco Bagnaia doesn't have an answer to. But then on the flip side of it is that Jorge Martin has never been in this position in a MotoGP championship before. And that's a scary thought, and that's obviously going to creep into your mind. And to keep that stone cold persona on and off track is difficult. And that's where I sort of see the mistakes on both sides. It's really exciting. But yeah, I want to see the best man win, and I want to see it as a scrap on the track.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's going to be very, 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 I would say it's very interesting because...
But it will be.
Yeah, because I don't know how it's going to play out because, like we say, Bagnaia's got the experience behind him. He knows how to win a championship. He's done it twice. Martin's done it as well, of course, once. And Bagnaia did it in Moto2 as well. But Martin?
Whoa.
Bagnaia. Whoa, as a hybrid. I'm shipping them now. Bagnaia has never won back-to-back titles, and to be the first rider in MotoGP to do it for Ducati is massive.
And in how many years? Since 2018, 2019. So you're looking 4 years since the last time someone won back-to-back.
Yeah, and to defend that number one plate as well, which is part of his branding now.
It's bold.
You know, you don't want... you don't want Jorge Martin to have that number one plate next year because it's just a constant reminder of the fact that you got beat by the guy on the same bike as you. And there is a thing I saw where there is still, again, take it with a pinch of salt, please, because I don't know the source and I can't remember off the top of my head the source, and I don't really want anyone to be like, oh, it's true. But what I saw was that there is a potentiality that if Martin wins the championship, they could do a swap with Bastianini.
I did see that, and apparently Bastianini is kind of all for it.
I don't blame him, to be honest.
I've not.
And so...
Oh.
No, I've not seen anything official, like, or concrete.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah, but... And then, if that's the case... Bagnaia then has to not only see a rider on track with the number one, he has to look at the other side of the garage and see a massive sticker behind Jorge Martin of a fat number one that he stole from him.
Depends for what branding he goes for. I can see the Martinator with a one as the eye.
Yeah, well, they always have the numbers, don't they? Massive behind them in the Ducati garage. They're like a big fat number behind them, yeah.
Depends if he goes for the one. Not everyone does.
I think he will. He said it in an interview, didn't he, the other week?
Oh, did he?
Yeah, he was like, because they were talking about Miguel Oliveira, because Oliveira could take 44 back next year.
Yes.
And they were like, oh, yeah, well, you could have 44. And he was like, oh, yeah, but I kind of like having this number now. And then Martin was like, oh, well, I wouldn't mind having, my 88 back. And then he was like, oh, but I could also have the number 1.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, I just sent you a photo of what the numbers in the garage. A massive 69 for Nicky Hayden there. But it's like, if Bagnaia has to look over and go, number 1, great.
We'll soon see there'll just be screens put up between
Oh, God, yeah.
the two sides of the garage to stop that from happening.
Yeah.
But...
Oh, yeah, God. But, yeah, like, I can't wait for it, to be honest. I'm so excited because both of them have so much motivation for their each own individual reasons to win the championship. Martin, a bit of like a punch in the face of the Ducati going, you didn't give me that seat, I'm still going to win the championship in the satellite team. So not only has he done it, but he's also annoyed Lenovo and Tardozzi's squad because he's gone and done it in the Pramac team. And he'll be the first rider to win a satellite MotoGP championship since Valentino Rossi, which is an impressive feat in itself. And then to also take it off the reigning world championship winner who is on the same bike as you. It's just a third little and what Martin's been through with his injury a few years ago, things like that. It would just be a fairy tale for Martin to win the championship, but it would also be equally impressive for Bagnaia to go and do it as well.
Yeah. And it just shows the caliber of talent that we've literally spent this whole podcast episode talking about. But since 2020, we've had a new world champion every year. And I think that would sort of go hand in hand with everything that we've been talking about and sort of validate that even more. That would be going into a 4th season of a new winner. So yeah, it spices things up. It makes things interesting. And yeah, it's just who won't crumble under the pressure, basically. And I hope it is exciting. I know you keep mentioning it, that it's going to be so exciting. I hope there isn't a silly crash or something,
that would ruin
in a free practice or something, and then they get injured or something.
Brace leg,
oh
God, yeah.
No, I couldn't deal with that. It's actually a bit stressful to think about it.
Because for example, I think Bezzecchi's still in it just about.
Yeah.
But say if Bezzecchi wasn't still in it, right, theoretically, if we got to the next race and, like you say, in FP1, and one of the riders breaks their leg and is out for the rest of the season, champion crowned right there in FP1. That would
I'd go around celebrating like I'd won the championship, even though...
Well, that happened... Yeah, do you remember what happened to Zarco a few years ago? Tito Rabat was... he couldn't race. And so they went into Zarco's garage and was like, by the way, Tito can't race, you're champion, well done. 2015.
No, I don't remember that.
Yeah, Tito can't ride, so you're world champion. And he was like, all right, great, went out and qualified.
Yeah, that'd be a pretty good boost. No, but I don't want that to happen.
No.
So let's stop speaking about it before we speak it into existence. Because I don't want to sit in the podcast next week and be like, oh,
yeah,
kind of talked about that.
That's right. Bezzecchi's still in the championship running. It's fine for now. But yeah, before we go on to predictions, I just wanted to, reminisce to John McPhee's amazing win last year as well. We completely forgot he'd done it, didn't we? And then we're like, who won last year in Moto3? And we're like, oh my God, it was John McPhee.
Yeah. Madness of a race. It was so good. I think I nearly cried last year. I was off my sofa, cheering.
It was a belter of a Moto3 race, to be fair.
Yeah, because
I
was
really did enjoy that.
7th or something coming into the last lap. It was wild.
Yeah, and then somehow I think he just overtook 3 riders into one corner or something ridiculous like that, including Sasaki.
Well, that's what when we said, John McPhee won, and I was like, oh, Sasaki second. I was like, nothing's changed.
Nothing changes. I think Sasaki is well out of it now, thanks to that crash that wasn't his fault last time. I think, where is he? He's still second, but
he's only 17 back. Now. Although, based on performances from Alonso and Holgado last week, I'd put my money more on them, even though they're both 25 points back, but they both, in their own rights, had very, very good performances last week, better than what Sasaki had. And even though it was a mistake from Munoz that ended Sasaki's race, I think that's going to play on your mind, and that's going to be, like, you're going to be thinking about that a lot, and I think you'll be worried about those around him, and I don't know if he has the race win in him with 3 races to go. I'm struggling to see it.
It's weird, isn't it? It'll be interesting. We might be sat here on next Monday and be like, oh, well.
Wrong again.
Yeah, but we'll have to see. Should we go into our predictions then?
Okay, let's. We've babbled for an hour now. People will be sick of us at this point.
Yeah, not surprised. To be honest. Yes, so we'll go with Moto 3. You've already said yours. Cameron's already said his. But, like, obviously, can't remember yours. So, which way do you want to do it? Do you want to go first, second, or third? Do we have Cameron last or Cameron first? Or in the middle?
I don't know. If you want to go first, because you haven't actually.
Okay, that sounds good. Because then it's fair, I guess. Because then it's not. I'm not hiding mine.
I didn't base mine on Cameron's. No. But I did have
a little.
It might get me some points, to be honest.
Yeah. True.
I did see his, but I didn't base mine on his.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, well, Moto 3 pole position, I will go with Onshu. Right, who are you going to go for?
I'm going to go with Munoz.
Okay, Munoz. Let's have a look. Munoz. Okay, Moto 3 third place, I will go for Mazia.
I was about to shout at you there. I was reading it the wrong way. I'm going to go with David Alonso, please.
There, okay, nice. Okay, Cameron's gone Sasaki. And he also went for Sasaki for pole. Moto 3 second place, I'm going to go with Sasaki. Cameron's got Mazia. Who are you going for?
Danny Holgado, please.
Nice, okay. For victory, I've gone with Alonso. Cameron's gone with Alonso.
I'm going to go with Xiaomi Mazia.
Oh, okay, nice. Okay, I like it. Throwing things up a bit. In Moto 2, pole position, I'm going to go with Acosta. So did Cameron. Who are you going for?
Aaron Canet.
Nice. Okay, interesting. Third place, I'm going to go with Dixon. Cameron went with Aldeguer. And you're going to go for?
Manuel Gonzalez, because if I say it enough, it'll eventually happen. And I don't want to know how many weeks in a row I've had him in third place. But
that's an interesting one. Good one.
It was his 5th place last year. We talked about this before.
Yeah, he was so good last year.
This was the start of his good run. So, good. So yeah, that's why I'm putting him third.
Nice. Well, I've gone with him for second.
Oh, funny that.
Yeah, that's weird, then. It's crazy. Well, Canet's gone for Cameron's gone for Canet. There you go.
I think Canet would go for Canet too.
Yeah, he would, to be honest. Yeah. Who are you going for second?
I'd like to put Tony Arbolino in second, please.
Nice. Me and Cameron have also gone for Costa to win.
Yeah.
The championship.
All of it. I'd like to see him win it to win the championship. I know he probably doesn't need to, but it's just the icing on the cake. So.
Oh yeah, I think he's definitely going to be championship winner this weekend.
It'd be nice actually if Tony won it and he came second. Does he still win the championship?
Yes, because I think it's 63 points and needs to leave with more than 50.
Yeah. That would be nice then, if Arbolino won it. For Arbolino's sake, not Pedro's sake.
Yeah, for Arbolino.
only for Tony Arbolino in that case, but...
So, MotoGP pole position. He was pole last year. I've gone with it again, Jorge Martin.
He was actually pole the year before too, so...
Yeah, he was, we did say this. Are you going to go for Martin
No. I did just say I didn't base my predictions off Cameron's. That was a little white lie because I didn't want to put Martin down for absolutely everything. So I've put Marco Bezzecchi down for pole.
Nice. Okay, I think Cameron has gone with Martin for pole unless I've read it wrong.
I think he did.
Yeah, pole position Martin.
He did.
Nice.
He's gone a different winner though.
He has. So in the sprint race, you've gone Bezzecchi. In the sprint race, I've gone with Martin. Cameron's gone Bezzecchi, and you've gone...
Martin. No, he went for.
Martin. Oh wait, Cameron's gone. Yeah, Cameron's also gone. Bezzecchi. Sorry, I'm like, it's too confusing.
We've
Cameron,
all
have
went
you got Martin as well?
Yeah, we've all gone Martin
Okay,
for the
all
sprint.
got Martin.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Okay, MotoGP third place. Cameron has gone for Bagnaia. I'm gonna go for Binder. Who are you going for?
Bagnaia.
Nice.
I actually didn't realise Cameron had put Pecco third too.
Yeah, it's an interesting one because potentially again, Martin could regain the championship lead this weekend.
Yep, that's what I pay good money for. So
yeah,
I'd like to see it happen.
Well, Cameron has gone Martin second in the main race. I have gone for second with Bagnaia after a scrap with Martin, and you are going to go for
Jorge Martin. Wait, no, second.
Yeah, second.
Rewind. Marco Bezzecchi. Sorry.
Bezzecchi.
I thought you were going for the win there.
No, but for the win, I have gone Martin. You have
I've
gone
Martin.
Cameron's gone Bezzecchi.
I mean, I'd love to see it.
Whether it will happen or not.
Yeah, questionable. I just think over long race distance. I'm even questioning it myself over long race distance. With the old broken collarbone, but
what's his name? Bastianini did really well last year, though, didn't he? At Sepang.
Yeah, but he didn't. I don't know.
Yeah.
In terms of injury this year,
yeah,
I just as much
destroyed,
as as much as it's a good circuit for him, we've been at good circuits for him, and it hasn't worked.
That's a good point.
So, top 10.
That makes sense.
If he's lucky.
Yeah. Well, I think that's everything we've got time for.
Yeah, I'd say so. No more rambling. No picking on you this week.
No, thanks for that. I appreciate it. My mental health is cured.
No, my sister said I complained too much, and I was like, do you know what? I think I've complained too much for the last 2 weeks, and now Cameron's not here, so we can't gang up on you. So
yeah, that's true. You got to be nice.
Gotta be nice this week. So. Sorry, everyone.
Nice. Well, it's Men's Mental Health Month, so you got to protect.
So I've got to be nice now for the next month. December will just
be
ridiculous.
Oh God, an onslaught. Yeah.
No. I'm always nice.
Great.
I just
Yeah. Anyway, moving on. Yeah, I think that's where we'll round it up. Thank you for listening to the podcast, as always, and we're back next weekend after the Thai Grand Prix with hopefully some after the Malaysian Grand Prix with hopefully some spice and some drama and some chaos to talk about.
Yeah, well, Pedro Acosta will be the Moto2 world champion.
Yeah.
I think the Moto3 will be blown wide open, even though my predictions state otherwise.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm just praying for an on-track battle in MotoGP.
Me too.
And Bautista to win it.
Oh yeah, that'd be so
None
sick.
of us have predicted him up there, so we clearly don't think he's going to be involved. So
no, we don't. Interesting one. I think there'll be team orders to not take points off of either of them. Maybe, I'm not sure.
Mapping 9.
Yeah. Oh yes. But yeah, thank you as always for listening. We're back next time. Thank you very much.
Bye.